Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing fantastic this morning. It is a chilly morning here. We're here at about 4 a.m., almost 5 a.m. So the good news is I was able to sort of get my sleep on track. Yeah, I know that'll last all of a week, I'm aware. But I was able to sort of get it on track. I kind of have to with all the roof stuff going on. So we're here at about 5 a.m. today. Going to do an early morning stream, bright and early. We'll see who gets first in chat. We got Jen. What's up, Jen? How are you doing? I shortened your name there so that I could pronounce it. What up, brother? What's up, Ghost? Second in chat. Today we got a good one in store for you guys. Mint, we got Mint in here. We're going to be talking about stop acting out your fight, flight, or freeze response, right? So that is going to be our title for this morning's stream. Stop acting out your fight, flight, or freeze response. I'm going to go drop some notifications. I feel like this is going to be a good one, guys. I've just got that feeling, you know? You just ever get that feeling? You're like, yeah, this is going to be a quality stream here. So we're setting the bar high. Let's drop those notifications. Today I will not use at here. I will use at everyone Mint. I did not forget. Mint teaching me how Discord works, basically, because I'm old and behind on time. So at everyone, we are live. There we go. Went to the doctor today. He says chemical imbalance, which the fun fact about chemical imbalance, and the reason I laugh, the only reason I laugh, is because it can't actually be proven. It's a theory. There's no tests that exist for that. It is a theory at best. So that's kind of why I laugh when I hear that term. However, you are in the right place. So Wonder Bro, wandering on the wild plains again. Hello, yes, I am wandering on the wild plains again at 5 a.m. my time, at 5 a.m. So here we go. Yeah, you gotta love that term. It does crack me up a bit. I mean, I guess if you can't teach someone how their brain operates, or if you're not skilled enough to teach someone how their brain operates, you can always blame it on a theory that can't be proven, right? So I guess that's the go-to for anyone who is incapable of teaching someone how their brain operates. But here we are, and we're going to teach you how your brain operates, and all the lovely people that have been here in the past and are here now and are healing and have recovered can vouch for that. So stay tuned, watch today's stream, and if you start to apply what you hear, you'll start to see it for yourself. So let's do this. I don't think we have to wait around too much longer. What is our viewer count at right now? Let's see. We got a handful of people in here. We can get started in just a second. That's early. Yes, we are here early. I didn't get any notifications. So you were just what? You were already on the YouTube app, I guess? You just got lucky today, Kev, maybe? Yeah, notifications can be kind of late. I'm also a medical student, and through this moment that I'm passing now, psychiatric specialty to save the peoples with anxiety. I'm glad you see the truth. Doesn't say anything about the cause, yeah. Hi, I've been listening to you for a week after I found Claire Weeks and someone commented your name in the comments section, so I thought I'd give it a chance. I'm so happy that I did. Well, hello, Pi. Welcome to the stream. Up all night. I have not been up all night, actually, believe it or not. I just woke up, so. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into this one. Stop acting out the fight. I've got it listed as flight, fight, or freeze response. Stop acting out the flight, fight, or freeze response. That is what we're going to be talking about this morning. So, you guys know, especially if you've been here for a while, I say that all the time. If you haven't been here for a while, I'll catch you up real quick. So, here we talk about what's called the two keys, right? The two keys are the accepting inner voice. That is simply you're not being so negative, right? You're not being so negative anymore, which fuels the fire, and positive behaviors. Now, this stream in particular, we're going to be focused more on the positive behavior side of things. And that is the title of the stream. Stop acting out the fight, or freeze response. Now, when it comes to anxiety, right, and it comes to that lovely part of your brain called the amygdala, it puts you in the flight, fight, or freeze response. Now, there's several ways that this can be acted out, right? Here's the problem. When you do take the anxiety's advice, right, so the anxiety comes in, the false alarm comes in, the amygdala comes in and says, hey, there's a danger. You know there's not a real danger, right? You're triggered over a thought, you're triggered over a situation, a person, whatever your trigger is, you know deep down there's not a real danger. The amygdala doesn't know that, so it hits you with what's called the fight, flight, or freeze response, right? Several ways that this can be acted out. The problem is, right, here's the important part, guys. The problem is that people take the amygdala's advice, even though it's false advice, it's not good advice. They take the amygdala's advice when they get hit with this fight, flight, or freeze response, and they act that out. Now, how do you act that out? What does that mean? Negative behaviors, right? So let's say the amygdala decides, hey, we're going to hit you with a false alarm. We think you're in danger, so here comes the false alarm. You're triggered over something, right? What it is irrelevant. You start to act out. People make the mistake of acting out that response. So let's say it's flight. The amygdala comes in, hits you with this response, and what do? They run for the door. What do? They exit the situation as quickly as possible. What do? They get up and they run to another room. What do? They get up and they run out the door, right? They run outside. They start pacing around the house. This is somebody acting out the flight response. Now, the problem is when you take the amygdala's advice, even though it's not very good advice because there's no real danger, and you decide to act out the response, you are reinforcing to the amygdala through your physical action that the danger must be real, because you said, hey, thanks for the suggestion, I'm going to take you up on that, and I'm going to flee. And you do. And therefore, you reinforce to the amygdala that there must be a real danger, because you wouldn't have fleed the situation, right? You wouldn't have fleed if the danger was not real, but you did. So to the amygdala, that must mean, hey, the danger was real. I did my job right? I did my job right, and I'm going to keep that alarm set high, okay? So understand, and this is a good stream for all of you, especially Mo. I'm going to call you Mo because I don't want to mess your name up. This is a good stream because you're questioning yourself. I can tell that you're questioning your ability to recover. So listen up. If you are living this way, right? If you are living this way, this is the reason for your issues. And if you make these corrections, you will see for yourself that you are capable. I want you to see that for yourself because you deserve to see that for yourself. So that is some examples of people acting out the flight response. Now, what is some examples of people acting out? And again, this all comes back to our second main key here, positive behaviors. What is some examples of people acting out the fight response? So some way that somebody could be acting out the fight response is any sort of compulsion, any sort of coping method. If the anxiety comes in and you're hit with the fight, flight, or freeze response, and you decide that you're going to fight, one way that you could do that is to use a compulsion, to use a coping method. Well, I'm going to do this physical behavior in order to fight off this threat, this danger, right? So people do something like get reassurance. People do something like log online and they do the same ritual. They go to the same website and they stop living and they partake in some sort of compulsion or coping method in order to fight away their danger, right? Whatever that danger they think might be. So again, the amygdala sees all, right? The amygdala sees all. The accepting inner voice is so that you're not adding fuel to the fire, right? It's so that you're not adding fuel to the fire. But you can't tell the amygdala that, hey, this is not a danger. And the amygdala says, okay, boss, right? You're using the accepting inner voice to not add fuel to the fire. But if you want to prove to the amygdala that the danger does not exist, it takes a little bit more than just the accepting inner voice. It also takes the correct behaviors. Now, what is the correct behaviors? Again, we're giving you examples today of what not to do, right? So coping methods, Compulsions, the amygdala sees all, right? To flight would be to flee. So let's talk about that last one now. Freeze. That is one that you commonly don't really see when people bring up the fight or flight response. You don't see a whole lot of people talking about the freeze response, but it's there and it does exist. So what is the freeze response? If somebody does the freeze response and acts that out, let me put it to you very simply. Let's say you are a caveman in your cave, right, having your dinner, and there's a tiger lurking outside of your cave, and it wants you for dinner, right? If somebody was acting out the freeze response, now if there was a real tiger, this would be perfectly acceptable, but there's not. If somebody was acting out the freeze response, what they would do is they would get very defeated with their posture. They would get very slouched. They would get very quiet. They would stop communicating. If they were talking to somebody, they would stop talking to that person, right? And they would get very withdrawn, because they are acting out the freeze response, right? So this is very caveman-like conditioning. This is very caveman-like, the amygdala, right? When you flee, you might as well be running from a tiger in the amygdala's eyes. When you freeze and you get defeated and you adopt a terrible posture and you stop talking and you stop communicating, you stop partaking in the world around you, you get very withdrawn into your own little corner, right? When you're doing that, when you're acting that response out, you might as well be hiding from a tiger. That's the way the amygdala sees it. Hey, we hit them with a false alarm, and now they're acting all quiet, and they're not saying much. They're not talking to the people around them. They're not doing things that they would normally do. They're being very withdrawn, so they must be hiding from that tiger. So I did a good job, right? That's what the amygdala says. I must have did a really good job because they're taking me up on that advice, right? Look at the way that they're acting. So that's how the amygdala learns. It doesn't learn by you saying, hey, this is irrational, please stop sending the alarm. The amygdala is not going to say, okay, you got it. The amygdala has to see through the way that you live that this alarm is not real, right? The amygdala has to see through the way that you live, through the actions and choices that you make and the way that you carry yourself, that this alarm is not real. It can't be told, it has to see it. And this is where we get into some trouble, right? This is where we get into some trouble because people come on here and they learn about the accepting inner voice, okay? Don't add so much negativity. Tell myself something like, it's just a false alarm. It's all good. Don't add fuel to the fire. I get that. They learn the accepting inner voice, and then they learn about positive behavior. And even though they watch a stream like this one that explains, hey, this is why you want to use positive behavior, right? People come on here and they learn that stuff, but this is where we get into trouble, okay? You can learn that stuff, but when the stream goes off, guys, if you go back to the same defeated posture, if you go back to the same daily routine where you're staying quiet and defeated and slouched in the corner, right? If you go back to the same routine of no longer talking to people and getting involved in life and staying quiet and staying defeated and getting up and running out of the room every time you feel anxious, if you go back to acting out the fight, flight, or freeze response in your daily life, then you're going to get more or less the same results. You're going to get the amygdala that's not learning anything new, right? So big problem is, and then some people, here's another problem. Some people will tell me, well, Wonder Bro, I go to work, I provide for my family, these are things I have to do. Isn't this enough for my amygdala to see that there's no danger? Understand, just dragging yourself from A to B is not enough. If you drag yourself from work to back, okay, well, that's one thing. But if the whole time while you're at work, if you're feeling anxious, and because you're feeling anxious, you've chosen, let's say, for example, the freeze response, so you're just doing your job as quickly as possible, and you're not talking to your coworkers, you're not trying to crack a smile, you're not trying to partake in the work jokes, they're all sitting around talking, making jokes, and you're off by yourself, acting very defeated and carrying yourself in a very negative way with negative body language, dragging yourself from work to back is not enough. It's not going to cut it, right? Making yourself take care of your children because you have to legally take care of your children is not enough. If you're taking care of your children and the whole time you're really anxious and you're not partaking, you're not having conversations, you're not trying to crack a smile, you're not trying to carry yourself in a new way, and you're acting very defeated, you're acting out the freeze response, while you force yourself to working back. You are acting out the freeze response while you are taking care of your children because you're obligated to do so, right? You are acting out the flee response while you're taking care of your children or at work every time you run to the bathroom because you're anxious. You are acting out the fight response if you are making yourself go to work and back, but the whole time you're doing compulsions and coping methods. See, the problem is, and the problem that I see with I'll say quite a few people is that they get it, right? They understand it. But at the same time, it's like they kind of come up with these reasons why, Wonder Bro, I'm doing it, but it's not working for me. But are you really doing it? Because we've never come on here and said, hey, force yourself to go to work and back, force yourself to take care of your kids, force yourself to do this, and there you go. That's all you got to do. We've never come on here and said that. We said it's important about how you do it. Forcing yourself to do something is one thing, but forcing yourself to do something the right way is a totally different ball game, right? So if you're one of those people who are like, well, I do the positive behaviors because I go to work. No, you're not. No, you're not doing the positive behaviors just because you go to work, right? That's not doing positive behaviors just because you go to work. Positive behaviors is how you do the thing. Positive behaviors is how you go to work. Do you go to work using the fight? Because you can carry this stuff with you, right? You can go to work all you want, but if you're carrying the fight, flight, or freeze response with you the way that you're acting, right? If you're acting out the fight, flight, or freeze response while you're at work, well, then showing up at work didn't do a whole lot. And it's not going to do a whole lot, right? You can be acting out the fight, flight, or freeze response whether you force yourself to go to work or not, right? So does everybody in chat understand what I'm saying there? I feel like there's a lot of confusion around that. You wouldn't believe how many times I've heard that. Wonder Bro, I force myself to do this. I force myself to do that. This just doesn't work for me. It's about how you force yourself to do it. Going to work's not enough. Taking care of your kids is not enough. Doing things you got to do because you're obligated is not enough. It's how you do the things that you got to do that's going to matter, right? So if you're acting out the fight, flight, or freeze response with your behaviors and your actions, well, then it doesn't make much of a difference that you're going to work, right? It doesn't make much of a difference. It's how you do it. So let's say, for example, you decide, okay, you know what, this stream makes sense to me. He's on to something. The amygdala learns through my behaviors. It doesn't learn through language. I get what he's saying about the whole caveman thing. I got to act like there's not a tiger. Let's say you come to that realization. And today you're like, okay, well, I got to go to work today. But today I'm going to go to work a different way, right? I'm going to go to work a different way. I'm going to show up at work. I'm going to put on a smile. I'm going to talk to my coworkers. I'm going to walk confidently. I'm going to act confident. When the anxiety is there, I'm not going to act out the fight, flight, or freeze response. I'm not going to act it out. I'm going to do things differently today. Now we're talking, right? Now we're on the right track. So you show up at work. You're trying to crack a smile when you can remember to do so. Anxiety starts to peak, so you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to run to that same corner of the store. I'm going to talk to my coworkers today. I'm going to make some jokes today. I'm going to joke around a little bit. I'm going to try to get myself into the moment, right? I'm going to adopt a better posture maybe. I'm not going to reach for my phone and do that compulsion or that coping method. Let's say you start doing that. Now you're making progress. Now you're doing more than just showing up to work. Now you're showing up to work with the right behaviors. And I'm just using that as an example, right? I'm just using that as an example because, again, I hear that all the time. Wonder Bro, I take care of kids every day. I work every day. This positive behaviors just don't work for me. No, you must understand, guys. You can drag yourself all over the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your behaviors are in line with recovery. You can drag yourself to a different location on the planet because you have to. That doesn't mean that means nothing. That doesn't mean your behaviors are in line with recovery, right? And I know I keep bringing it up, but I just get that comment so often. I feel like it needs to be addressed. Where you drag yourself around the world because you're obligated to do so, like to work, makes no difference. It's going to come down to your behaviors. How do you make yourself do the things that you have to do? And which way do you do them? How are your actions? How are your choices? How are your behaviors while you do these things, right? I've had comments that, and I don't want to drag this into the ground. I don't want to bore you guys, but I've had comments that say things like, I'm a full-time dad, I'm a full-time mom, I'm busy, pretty much all the time. So, I'm doing the behavioral work. You're not. You're not necessarily doing the behavioral work, guys, just because you're doing a lot of things, right? Just because you're doing a lot of things, there's a lot of things that go into your life, doesn't mean you're doing the behavioral work. If you've got a full-time dad who's cooking dinner for his kids and he's doing it in a very freeze response sort of way, behavioral way, he's not talking, he's just trying to rush through it as quickly as possible. He's not talking to those around him, he's very defeated the whole time, he's just rushing. You're acting out the flight response by rushing around like that, right? You're acting out the freeze response by being quiet like that. Does everyone see where I'm going with this, right? Does everyone see where I'm going with this? So understand that, you can do a lot of things in your life. That doesn't necessarily mean you're using the correct behaviors. So you need to start thinking in the terms of correct behaviors rather than just, here's how many things I do. Well, how do you do those things? How do you do those things? And understand, I am proud of you if you've made the decision to add more activities to your life. I'm proud of you. That is a great first step. But we want to keep in mind that it's important how you do those activities, right? We want to keep in mind that it's important how you do those activities. So there must come a point, right? There must come a point that you stop living the way that you're living. Right? There must come a point that your actions get on board with recovery. There must come a point. Here's the simplest way to put it, right? If you're having trouble understanding all this, here's the simplest way to put it. There must come a point that you start to act like a person who's already recovered. Ooh, let's get a mic drop on that one because that just sums it up all right there. Isn't that so sweet to hear? Doesn't that make it crystal clear for you guys? There must come a point that if you're ready to recover and you want to recover, then you must act like a person who has already recovered. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's say it again because that's just music to my ears. There must come a point that if you want to recover, you must act like a person who has already recovered. Right? There you go. There you go. If all you get from this stream this morning is those words, if all you remember from this stream this morning is those words, to recover, you must act like a person who's already recovered. If that's all you remember from this stream, your actions should start to fall in line because we can't make it any more clear than that, right? Don't do anything and don't act any way that you wouldn't act if you weren't recovered. If that false alarm was not there, right? And if that's all you remember from this stream this morning, we're on track. So while you're acting that way, while you're acting like a person who's already recovered, keep that accepting inner voice, and then you'll have the two main keys down. So you're acting like a person who's already recovered with your behaviors, and when the anxiety's there, you're not being negative about it. You're just like, okay, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my behavioral work. This is good. This is a false alarm. My brain is learning, right? So you got the accepting inner voice starting to go on, and you've got those positive behaviors following that, right? Now you're using the two main keys. So, again, guys, I just felt like this, stream was very, very important, right? I felt like this stream was very, very important because, just like Mint said just now, which is an excellent comment, she said, I do those activities fine like I would normally do, but I don't slow down enough in a positive way. So what she's kind of hinting at there is that she does these activities, which, by the way, pat yourself on the back. Congrats on taking that step. But at least you're willing to admit that, yes, you do the activities, but how do you do them with your behaviors? If you don't slow down enough, right, you're just rushing through them. How quickly can I get this shit done, right? How quickly can I get this done? Then it's safe to say that maybe we're acting out some of the flight response, right? Flight is all about what? What does flight equal? Flight equals speed. Let's get through this as quickly as possible. Right, as quickly as possible. So maybe it would be beneficial for you and your recovery and anybody else listening, not just Mint. Maybe it would be beneficial to you if you're starting to recognize that you act out a lot of the flight response, that you purposely start to slow down. You purposely start to say, I'm going to do this thoroughly. You purposely start to say, I'm not going to do it so quick, so unnecessarily quick. I'm going to do it with a bit more of a positive body language. I'm going to do it with a couple more smiles. I'm going to do it in a more thoughtful and thorough way, right? Now, that's just an example. That's just an example. So, and let's give another example, because you guys know that we love examples here. Let's say we've got two people, and they're both going to do some behavioral work today, and they're both going to work in the garden. I love the garden. Mint loves the garden, so it's a good example. Let's say both of these people are pretty sensitized. They've got an amygdala that's wired the wrong way, right? And they both say, hey, we're going to get up and we're going to work in the garden today. We're going to do some behavioral work. This should be good. Working in the garden should show my brain that there is no tiger. Person A goes out there. They take a moment to smile. They take a moment to breathe in all the, the morning air, and they go out there and they sit down, and yeah, they're feeling pretty rough, but they're purposely slowing down, and they get out there and they work in the garden, and they take time to enjoy it, and they take time to act like they're already recovered, right? And then you got person B who steps out the door. They've got their tools in hand, and they're not using the accepting inner voice. They're saying things like, oh fuck, okay, well, we're going to work in the garden today. This should be good for my nerves, but man, I feel like shit. Let's try to get this done as quickly as possible. And then they get out there and they start working in the garden, and they're just slinging dirt everywhere, dude. They're just slinging dirt left, right, front, center. They're trying to get that shit in the ground. Let's plant these seeds as quickly as possible, and they're just throwing shit around, and they're just boom, 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 all over the place. Zoom, zoom, zoom. They're just running around like a chicken with its head cut off, right? Are they doing anything? Are they accomplishing anything with that sort of behavioral response? No. And again, like I said, congrats on them for wanting to do better. Congrats on them for wanting to go work in the garden. But you're not accomplishing much if you're like a chicken with its head cut off, right? You're not accomplishing much if you're still acting out the fight, flees, or freeze response. Right? Now, person A, who's got the accepting inner voice, and they're doing a positive behavior, they're smiling more, they're taking their time while they're in the garden, they're doing little things on purpose, like slowing down and really taking in the moment. They're doing little things like having good body language. They're doing little things like, doing little positive things, right, that seem irrelevant, and they're doing them in a confident way. That person's going to benefit, right? That person's going to benefit. The person who's rushing around and acting out the fight or freeze and flee response, they're not going to benefit, because they're acting out that the danger must still be real, right? So it's all about how you go about doing these things, guys. It's all about how you go about doing these things with your actions. So that was the point of today's stream. We've got to get you to a point that if you want to recover, you start to act like a person that is already recovered, right? And, some people will say, well, that sounds a whole lot fake it till you make it. And I'm here to tell you, I don't like the term fake it till you make it. I much rather prefer show your brain the truth. Because you're acting like a person who's already recovered, all you're doing is you're showing your brain the truth. You're showing your brain that there is no real danger. So there's nothing fake about that, right? There's nothing fake about that. How could there be anything fake about showing your brain the truth? It's the truth, right? It's the truth. There's nothing fake about showing your brain the truth. So I don't like fake it till you make it. I like show your brain the truth, right? So I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope maybe that kind of clears the air a little bit about, okay, what's a positive behavior and how important are positive behaviors? Well, they're really important because they do all the retraining work, right? If you continue to be very quiet, withdrawn through your daily lives, and you're not putting yourself out there a little bit and talking to people, even if it's just on the phone, and carrying yourself a different way, and you're acting out the fight, flee, or freeze response. That's a bit tricky to say all those words at once. If you're continuing to act those responses out, well, then it's no wonder you're not making the progress that you want to see, right? So if you did enjoy this morning stream, guys, make sure you give it a like. I would really appreciate it. It does help the channel grow. We're going to put on some music, and let's see. We're going to put on some music, and then we're going to head over and hang out with you guys in the chat. If you've got any questions, now is the time to ask them. Let's get our music going. There we go. Give me just a second here, guys. I'm going to readjust here. I got my keyboard all over the place. Ugh. All right, let's see. Wonder, quick question, are there any supplements to help anxiety that actually work? I have no idea. I didn't go the supplement route. For me, I was always like a pillophobe, right? It was like a phobia of mine. I wouldn't even take supplements. So I know nothing. I know literally nothing unless we're talking about acceptance, unless we're talking about the two keys. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on medication or supplements or anything like that. Me personally, it just wasn't my thing, right? Let's see. We're going to scroll the comments a little bit. I love tea. Thank you. I love tea, guys. Put some purple hearts in the chat for I love tea. Thank you so much for the $5 tip. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. We are on a 193 day streak. 193-day streak. We are so close to 200, guys. We are so close. Show some purple hearts in the chat for I love tea. We are here early morning with morning stream. Morning stream. They're not as it's not as full as my evening or late night streams, but they always show up. They always show up and kick ass. So I appreciate it. I love your morning stream. Get some purple hearts. Dominique likes to post purple monkeys. I guess it's the same concept, right? I guess it's the same concept. Let's see, what are we talking about in chat here? Let me try to get caught up with the conversation that's going on. We all heard it. Wonder Bro said he loves tea. Real funny. Real funny. My only problem is that even when I'm out and try to enjoy, I'm reading like really old comments. Try to enjoy life even with the symptoms and the fatigues. I get the thought about my anxiety and I'm feeling problematic and generally feeling awful. Keep in mind, this is important. Keep in mind, you're going to probably generally feel awful, right? Like I know that's not what you want to hear, but anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on. It's the only time that you have access to the fear pathways. So you are probably going to feel generally awful while you are making yourself act like a recovered person. And that's just the example that I'm giving today to try to help you guys piece this together in your minds on what I mean by positive behaviors. I mean, you have to act like you're already recovered, right? And I want you to also know that you're probably going to feel awful while you do that, at least at first. Right? And how could you not? You've got an amygdala that's very sensitive and you've got the false alarms going on. But that's a good thing because anxiety learns while anxiety's turned on. So we kind of need you to feel awful, but we need you to feel awful with the correct behaviors. Does that make sense? We need you to feel awful with the correct behaviors. That's what we need. So it's okay that you feel awful because, again, you don't have access to those fear pathways unless you do feel awful. So that's actually a good thing, and that can be your accepting inner voice right there. It's hey, anxiety learns while anxiety's turned on. I need this, right? And then the correct behaviors, what are the correct behaviors? Acting like a recovered person. Then they follow the accepting inner voice. Now you're using the two main keys. Now you are getting your life back. And it might not feel like it right away, right? It takes time for the brain to learn, but you are getting your life back. You can experience rather quick relief. You can experience rather quick change, but I just urge you to stay on track with the two main keys no matter how you feel right now. All right, let's see here. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? To justify it to themselves as critical thinking. Yes, that's a good point. Is that in Mountain Dew, Luis? Is that mineral found in Mountain Dew? keep in mind, right, when it comes to medications and supplements, right? You do that on your at your own risk. I've had people blame other people in the chat. You recommended this, and now it made me feel like this, and so keep in mind, if you're gonna ingest something into your body, you're doing it at your own risk, and nobody else is to blame for that. Yeah, exactly. Do your own research. Ask your doctor. It's at your own risk. The only reason I do that is because I don't want anybody getting blamed for that, because I've seen that before. How dare you recommend this to me? I tried it, and now I can't sleep at night. And I'm just like, well, that's kind of your decision that you made. So, tea, however. I wish for just the sake of for the sake of the stream that I knew a little bit more about supplements and whatnot, but I just don't, because I'll be honest with you guys, I was too sensitized and freaked out by that stuff to ingest anything. I was like, nah, my OCD type mind will just pick that apart. I'm not gonna do it, and so I just never really explored those options. I never really went down that path. I stuck to the old natural two main keys. So I don't really have much personal knowledge on things like supplements for that reason, and that's why I'm here and I'm telling you, hey, you do what you want to do as far as that goes, but if you stick with the two main keys, you're going to make progress. So that's the way that I always tackle that subject. You do what you want to do, but if you stick to the two main keys, then you can really start to rewire your amygdala, right? We can really start to make changes. That may relieve symptoms slightly, but won't fix the problem. Couldn't agree more. I may not have much personal experience with supplements, but I know for a fact that they're not going to do the work for you. I can tell you that, regardless of how much I do or do not know about it. I can tell you that they're not going to do the work for you. It's the same thing with medication. I mean, it's medications and supplements, not to get on that topic because we try to avoid that topic because, again, that's personal choice, but just really quick, I'm going to say, medication, supplements, they help to mask the symptoms and to make the work a little bit easier. Now, whether or not it's going to make it easier for you, I don't know. They might agree with you, they might disagree with you, but they do not do the work for you. They just, in some cases, they might make it easier, but they don't do the work for you. You still got to do the work. I'm trying to think of an analogy for that. You can put a Band-Aid on a cut, right? But if that needs treated, if it's a bad enough cut and that needs treated with antibiotics, the Band-Aid's not going to do the work, right? I don't know. That's kind of a sloppy analogy, but I think you get what I'm going for there. I think you get what I'm going for there. How's the roof work going? I snuck a little sneaky pick on the Discord there to update everyone on that, Ghost. It's not actually technically going, right? But they've been here a few times to get their materials correct and to add to their material list. Apparently yesterday when they stopped by, they realized that they were going to need more materials than they thought they were going to need. So they made some adjustments to the list, and that's that picture that I posted in the Discord. So technically no work has been started, but the process has been started. So it's very exciting. How long it's going to take for them to get those extra materials in, I don't know. I don't know. They're supposed to start dropping even more of them off at my house. How long that will take before they actually get up on the roof and start the work, your guess is as good as mine. I just know that I was told that they will be bringing materials up and dropping them off, and we had to show them where we wanted those materials dropped off. So we're getting there. The process has started. So it's exciting. Yeah, you just seen the legs because I didn't want to get their faces. I didn't want to get their faces in the picture. I felt like that might be disrespectful. So all you can see is just their legs in the clipboard. But yeah, I just didn't want to be disrespectful. Hey, 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 hey. This music has got me in a little better mood. I was so tired and a little anxious, now a little anxious, but have spring in my step, tidying up a bit. I love it, man. I love it. Do that mindfully, right? And what do I mean by that? Slow down, enjoy it, listen to the music, bob your head a little bit. Every positive behavior is a good behavior. Everybody in chat right now, let's get a chain going. Everybody just bob your head a little bit. Bob your head to the music. A positive behavior is a positive behavior, guys. I want you to look at it like this. Would you be bobbing your head to the music if the danger was real? No, you wouldn't be bobbing your head to the music, so do it. Right? You guys think I'm joking. You think I'm being ridiculous right now. This guy's being absolutely ridiculous. I'm not. The amygdala is a smart thing. It's stupid in some ways, very unintelligent in some ways, but it's very intelligent in other ways. And, it realizes these things. It makes these connections. What's it going to hurt to bob your head a little bit to the music? Right? What's it going to hurt? What's it going to hurt? And if you're not willing to do that, I'll put it to you this way. And I promise, I'm not saying this to try to be a douchebag. If you're not willing to just bob your head a little bit to the music, then how can I expect you to be willing to use positive behaviors throughout your entire day? If you're not even willing to bob your head to the music a little bit. Right? Right? Do you guys see what I'm getting at? I promise, I'm not trying to sound like a douche, and I'm not trying to sound ridiculous. I just want to help you. Wonder, bro, how do you deal with toxic people? I don't deal with them, right? I'll be straightforward about that one. I just don't deal with them. Distance and cutting people off that need to be cut off. That is the best solution in my mind. If you can't cut them off, you can distance yourself, right? You make whatever choice you feel like is best, but that's my opinion. That's what I do, right? I don't waste too much time trying to deal with them. I just either distance myself or cut them off completely. We don't have time for that, man. We don't have time. Life's too short. We don't have time to put up with people, right? The moment you start stressing me out on a reoccurring basis and affecting my mental health is the moment that you're going to start to see less and less of me, right? I bet Wonder Bro steers clear of Twitter. I've got a Twitter, Vacate Fear. I post tweets on there. Is that what you call it? Post tweet? I'm not sure of the terms here. Hey, Wonder Bro, do you think anxiety, depression? No. Negative. I have read one comes with the other. You're a fantastic person. Negative, and I'll tell you why that's a negative. Because there's no way to prove it. It's a theory, right? There's no actual test that can be ran to prove that. So it's a theory at best, right? It's a theory at best. I've seen too many people in the 6 years that I've been doing this go from being bedbound to happy, living their lives, and even moving to other countries with this advice, right? I've seen that happen way too many times to believe in a theory. So I'm going with what supports, right, where the support is. And the support is, the supporting facts is that people who actually dedicate to this advice live different lives than they once lived, right? So I've seen it happen too many times to believe in a theory. Now there's something to be said about it. Of course, somebody who's sensitized and has an amygdala that's wired to be fearful, you could say that there's some sort of imbalance going on that they created and that they continue to create, but it can be fixed. It can be reversed. It can level out, right? Now that I could see, but to say that it's a chemical imbalance and there's nothing you can do about it, that's just outlandish, right? That's just out of this world. So if someone wants to tell me, yeah, chemical imbalance because of what they're doing to themselves and not using the advice, and it's causing a sort of an imbalance that's going on, yeah, that could be understandable, but you can fix that with the advice, right? But if someone said to me, chemical imbalance, there's nothing you can do about it, I would say go fly a kite and kiss my big fat ass, because that makes no sense. Let's see. Recent study that proves there is no chemical imbalance. Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, in the years that I've been doing this, Luis, I have had to fight that one many times. Many times. So don't buy into that crap. I'll put it to you like this. Let's say there's someone in the chat who's not convinced, no matter what we say, and they want to believe that there's something wrong with them, right? They want to believe that there's something wrong with them, that they can't recover because of this, right? Whatever this might be. Let's say there's someone out there that's like that, can't be convinced. They fully believe, okay, there's something like this imbalance, I can't be fixed. Okay, well, I got a challenge for you then. If you want to believe that, right? If I can't convince you otherwise and you want to believe that, then for the next month, give your full effort into positive behaviors, acting like you're somebody who's already recovered in every little thing that you do. Really put your full effort into acting like a person who's already recovered. Come back to me in a month and tell me that you don't see any sort of results. Come back to me in 2 weeks, tell me you don't see any sort of results if you give me full effort. Right? We don't put time frames on things, but my point is, do the work and actually do it, and do it with effort, and then we'll talk about how you can't be fixed. But until you're willing to do the work and do it with full effort and give it an adequate amount of time, I'm not even going to entertain the idea that you can't be fixed, because you're not even trying to you're not even trying to prove me wrong. So I can't even debate with you at that point, right? I'm not even going to debate with you at that point. Hold on, I've got some, let's see. Let me try to pull this up real quick. So I think this was a quote that somebody originally posted in the Discord. It might have been Mint, but it says, lots of people think they get their life back when the anxiety has gone. The anxiety goes when you start behaving like you've got your life back. I love that quote. I saved it. Lots of people think that they get their life back when the anxiety has gone. The anxiety starts to go when you start behaving like you've got your life back. So there you go. Those are not my words. That was just a quote somebody shared from some other source, but it just backs up what I'm saying here. Backs up what I'm saying here about behaviors and how the amygdala learns, right? Oh, I hope everyone's having a good morning. I'm getting a stretch in. It's always with you, but you learn to control it. Well, being sensitized is not always with you, right? I want to make that known. Being sensitized is not always with you. If you can sensitize a body, you can desensitize a body, and many people have done it, right? Because it's only logical. If you can sensitize a body, you can desensitize a body. If you can sensitize an amygdala, you can desensitize an amygdala. If you can form fear pathways, you can unform fear pathways and create new ones. But I get what you're saying. I just don't want any sensitized people reading that and think, oh, fuck, Kev just said I'm going to be sensitized for the rest of my life, right? Because that's how sensitized people's mind works. So anytime I see comments like that, I make sure to address that right away. So no offense, but I make sure to address that right away. But I get what you're saying, Kev. I get what you're saying. The emotion of anxiety is just a part of being human, but the sensitized anxiety state can be recovered from. Always enjoy your streams. Well, thank you, Red. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. True. Yeah, again, no offense, Kev. I get what you're saying, but other people might not. So I always have to make that correction there anytime I see a comment like that. I know how sensitized minds work. They blow everything out of proportion. Anxiety something me. This stream is getting me started with a day feeling positive. Do it, Mint. You're going to have a productive day. No matter how you feel, act like you're a person who's already recovered, right? That's one way to put it. I feel like that makes sense, right? That makes it clear what your objective is there, right? I know it takes effort, guys. Don't get me wrong. Like, when you feel like crap, the last thing you want to do is act like somebody who doesn't feel like crap, right? So I get it's not the easiest thing in the world. I understand it takes some force. But remember why you're doing it. Just remember why you're doing it. You're doing it because you know that anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on. Remember why you're doing it. Motivate yourself. Do something different today, you know? Do something in a positive way. Carry yourself in a different way today. Try to remember those words. Today my objective is to act like the person that I wish to be. Today is the day for me to act like a person who's already recovered so my amygdala can see that the danger doesn't exist. You know, remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing so that you're more likely to actually do it, right? Procrastination is the enemy. You live your best life when you stop trying to live it and actually live it. Yeah, instead of sitting around just gathering the information and not actually using the information, right? It's one way that you can put that. Sometimes I notice when I'm doing really well with acceptance, I begin to get ill. Like it feels like a flu. I just carry on and I start to feel better. It's crazy how the subconscious works. It feels so real like anxiety, but acceptance methods works for that too. Yeah, symptoms can be weird, right? Symptoms can be weird sometimes. They can switch up a little bit, but same advice applies. So that's really the beauty of this advice, is that it doesn't change based on what your symptoms are. I hope when this stream is over, man, I hope you guys take advantage of it. I hope you take advantage of it, and I hope you have a kick-ass day. I hope you have a productive day. I hope you have a fun day. Even if you don't feel like it, I hope you do it. I hope you do it because now you know why you're doing it. Loves me like you used to. I'm a flower in the winds of anxiety. Anxiety may bend me, but it will never break. Background related. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it definitely feels real, right? I mean, that's its job, right, Luis? Anxiety's job is to feel real. It's to make you feel that the threat and the danger is real and happening now. That's its job, and it does a really good job at that, right? And that's why it takes effort to go against that and behave like you're a person who's already recovered, right? Because it feels so real. Because again, that's its job. If it didn't feel real, the false alarms didn't feel real, they wouldn't be so effective, right? So that's one way that you can sort of word that. I get more here than therapy. I appreciate this. Well, I appreciate you, Kev. I appreciate you watching. And I hope you're all going to have a fantastic day. Use this advice. Moving on. Try not to overthink it, Mint. Try not to overthink it. One thing at a time, right? One positive behavior at a time. Exactly, Mo, which is impossible to do, right? But for some reason we believe that we can. Impossible to tell the future. But, you know, it's a habit like anything else. It's a habit. public holiday in the UK, and it feels like Sunday all over again. It's pretty awesome. Nice. What holiday is it? I'm curious now. They're doing it just because we all deserve a day off. So it's just like what? Kind of like a Labor Day? Hey, I'm all for random holidays. All right, hold on a second, guys. We're gonna switch to the BRB screen. I'm gonna get something to drink and a little snack, and then we'll be right back. All right. Might take me a minute. But if you hang in there, I promise we will return. Okay. All right. Hello, beautiful people. Hello. Who's still with me? Who's still with me? Who had the patience? Who had the patience? I had to get some food. I was starving. Not gonna lie, I was starving. Oh, is it Ghost Stream now? Alright, Ghost, I'm all ears, dude. I'm gonna eat while you give us all advice. You guys want to see what a mess I look like? Why do we have game capture? Oh yeah, we had Minecraft. Me and Ghost had Minecraft running. Look how dark it is in here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It doesn't make it much better, does it? Whenever I have a question about the point of the stream, which is the response of the body that actually explains what acceptance method is. I'm so well versed on flight, fight, or freeze. But what is the acceptance to us, evolutionary speaking? There's not really a term, right? There's not really a term other than acceptance, right? Of course, there is no natural sort of accepting behavior, if that's what you're getting at. There is no natural evolutionary response. You could say rest digest if that's what you're talking about. Acceptance is a skill that you learn because you know that your amygdala is just being a fucking weirdo and it's out of whack. But if you're talking about like evolutionary terms, you could say rest digest. If you're comparing fight and flight to rest digest, the rest digest is a term that is used to describe someone who's stepping out of the fight or flight and are starting to heal, and they enter back into the rational brain, right? The rational brain. We call that rest digest. You get there through using acceptance, but I wouldn't say acceptance is like a natural thing. I think it's something that you learn, but it does lead to a natural thing called rest digest. And when that happens, you start to feel rational and logical again, and you start to not be so triggered over things. Is the music loud on this screen? Okay, I got you. Yeah, that was really loud. I'm glad you said something, man. I didn't realize how loud it was. Please tell me you could still hear my response there. Did I say all that for nothing? Did I say all of that for nothing? Was that a huge waste of time? So, what is for dinner, guys? Or breakfast? Not dinner. Yeah, you could call it, you could call it rest digest. Which I guess what you're saying is just another fancy term for it. But I've always heard it put rest digest. Fight or flight versus rest digest. And it gets this information, it gathers it from your senses, right? Sees what you see, watches what you do, right? So forth and so on. Isn't it just I don't see no tiger? Well, it's a little bit deeper than that because it wants you to act like you don't see a tiger, right? If you're acting like there's a tiger when there's not a tiger, there might as well be a tiger. Sort of deal. because you can have like an intrusive thought, and the amygdala might take that as some sort of danger, depending on how you've reacted to it to the past. So now you've got to change the behaviors, and not use and act out the fight or flight response. What do you have to do to recover, or what do you have to cover from physically? I'm going to say behaviors. Is that microwave food? Yes, it is. I live out of the microwave. We're too poor for anything else. Wonder, bro, are you getting bald? Maybe. Saying we have so much tired nerves and stored emotions. Well, I mean, that's true, right? They're not wrong. You do have tired nerves, and you do need to heal. But that's what this advice is for, right? They're not wrong. You do need to heal your tired nerves, but that's what the two main keys are for, right? You are 24, right? I wish. For everyone who thinks I just popped open a soda, this is water. Carbonated water, all right? I'll switch over for a second. So you're 30. Not quite yet, Ghost. Not quite yet. I'm 28. Strawberry flavored sparkling water beverage with other natural flavors. Is there ever such a thing as pushing yourself too hard? If you're white knuckling it, I would say yeah. Which means if you're going through it and you're trying to use, you're trying to do things, but at the same time you're not using the accepting inner voice, we could call that white knuckling it. So, if you're like, okay, I'm going to use positive behaviors, which is great, by the way, congrats. But if the whole time you're telling yourself very negative things, what you're doing is you're putting in the work and you're showing the amygdala, hey, the tiger doesn't exist because look at how I'm behaving. But if you're like freaking yourself out the whole time mentally, then you're also setting the amygdala back off, right? So it's like if you're not working on the negative thinking with trying to at least be a little bit more accepting in your thinking, then you're showing the amygdala the tiger doesn't exist with your positive behaviors, but at the same exact time, you're stressing yourself out So it's like you're kind of going one step forward, one step back, one step, you know what I'm saying? So why do some doctors say we need to recover physically before recover mentally? I feel like this has been bothering you for a while, because you've been on that for a minute now. You do need to recover physically, but you can recover physically and mentally at the same time. Physically is in regards to the physical symptoms, the tired nerves. You do need to recover physically. They're not wrong. But to do that, you use the advice that you hear here. So I'm not sure where your fear's coming from. What you're learning here is how to recover physically. So I'm not sure where the fear is coming from there, but what you've been learning here is how to recover physically and mentally with the positive behaviors and the accepting inner voice, right? Finding it so hard to break the anxiety cycle. Do you think it's because I'm on my own and haven't been out for months, so it's finding it difficult to leave? I don't think I don't think it's necessarily because of the situation that you find yourself in. It's always going to come down to how you're. It's always going to come down to the two main keys, right? It's always going to come down to whether or not you're using those positive accepting behaviors. We put it earlier, to act like a person who's already recovered. Are you doing that? And are you trying to practice that accepting inner voice as you're acting like a person who's already recovered? If you're doing the two main keys, you'll make progress, and it'll make you facing your specific fears a little bit easier when you decide to finally do that, right? When you decide to do that, if you're practicing this advice, it'll make it easier for you. So let me explain. And no problem, by the way, MV. Sorry, guys, I was just so hungry. Let me explain why that happened to you, Luis. So the reason I've got two keys is because you have no choice. I have no choice. And it's because of this. If you're using positive accepting behaviors, which is to say you're acting like a person who's already recovered, but the whole time you've got a very negative inner voice and you're not trying to, pair your negative thinking, what you're doing is you're showing the brain with the positive behaviors that, hey, I'm good. Sorry, I'm so burpy. I'm good. I'm not acting like there's a danger. I'm good. But then what you're doing is, by not trying to pair your negative thinking with some more accepting thinking, you're setting it back off. So you're doing the work, you're retraining the amygdala, but the whole time you're setting it off. So you're like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Right? Your amygdala is confused as hell. It's like, wow, she's smiling and dancing and living her life and being productive, but yet she's really worried about something. She's doing a lot of negative thinking, so there must be a danger, but she's not acting like there's a danger, but there must be a danger, but she's not acting like there's a danger, but there must be a danger. So it's like, oh God, it's just going back and forth. Because you can set an amygdala off, right? You can set an amygdala off with worry, but you can't tell the amygdala to stop it. So you just keep setting it off. To tell the amygdala to stop it, you just live your life, positive behaviors. It'll stop it on its own. But you can keep setting it off with a ton of worry. So you need to try to catch that negativity and try to pair that up. Your accepting inner voice can be as something as simple as, there's nothing for me to think about, I just need to do positive behaviors, right? That could be your accepting inner voice if it stops the negativity and gets you just living.
I love the message of acting like you're already recovered.
It's so true, dude. I'm at the chewy part. A nervous wreck. Nice. Nice. Yeah, you know, I feel like people struggle, Luis, because they can do one of the two main keys and they can't do the other one. You know, whatever. They can do positive behaviors. They don't focus on the inner voice, right? They can do the inner voice. They're not doing positive behaviors. Got to have both the two main keys. So what I try to tell people to keep it as simple as possible is like, look, act like you're a recovered person, and while you're doing that act, right, which is just showing your brain the truth, tell yourself something short, sweet, and simple. The reason I say short, sweet, and simple is because I don't want people to think it takes a whole lot of work to do the accepting inner voice. It's just bringing up accepting reminder to cut out on so much negativity, right? So just pick something short, sweet, and simple, and repeat it if you have to, instead of doing so much negative thinking, right? Because I don't want people to think, well, damn, I've got to do all this positive, behavioral work. MV, dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can we get some purple hearts in the chat for MV? Hey, we're gonna switch over. Thank you so much for that, dude. That was our second tip of the stream. We're an hour and a half into this. I don't know. Today might be the day. But MV, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, I don't want people to think that, oh, I've got to do all this behavioral work, but I can't keep up this behavioral work and also work on this accepting inner voice. I can't do both, man. I don't have the energy for that. I don't want anyone to think that. That's why I say just pick something short, sweet, and simple and roll with it. Busted ass lighter, dude. Ghost, thank you for the purple hearts, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you, MV, for the $5 tip. Now I understand why it didn't work. Yeah, you can, and these aren't my words, this is actually from a psychologist. You can send someone out to do behavioral practice, behavioral work, but if they're worried before they do it, and they're worried during they're doing it, and they're worried after they do it, then it's no wonder they're not making progress, right? Now, that was a loose quote of a famous psychologist's words there. That, if somebody's doing the behavioral work, great. But if they're worried while they're doing it and before they do it and after they do it, then it's no wonder their amygdala's not learning, right? Because they're setting the amygdala off the whole time instead of letting the amygdala just naturally spike and do its thing and start to fade out, right? So you were just missing one piece of the puzzle there. It's no wonder your amygdala didn't learn. If you were setting it off the whole time that you were doing your exposure work, but now you can do your behavioral work the right way. The right way, as in not fueling the fire the whole time that you're trying to do your behavioral work. So that's why we have to have two keys, guys. That's why we have to have two keys. I wish we could keep it super simple and just say, hey, we've got one main key. But unfortunately, situations like Louise found herself in at one point is the reason we can't just have one main key. You can't set the amygdala off with so much negative thinking while you're doing your behavioral work and expect your behavioral work to work, right? Because the whole time you're doing the behavioral work, you're just setting off the amygdala, so the amygdala is not really learning much. Got some smooth jazz, and one in a row is a great confidence booster. Have faith and believe in yourself. You can do this. Thank you, Mo. I appreciate you, dude. I honestly prefer to donate than paying overpriced psychiatrists or just bribes people. Well, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much. It's a good thing to visualize and imagine all the things you want to do and achieve. It's motivational, right? It's motivational. In fact, people are more willing to do the work if they've got a reason why they're doing it, right? So if the motivation is I want to have a family one day and I want to meet somebody and I want to live a better life, I want to live a happy life, I want to do all the things that I've dreamt of doing, and I can do that if I just do this work. If that's your motivation, then you're going to be far more likely to do the work with dedication than if you have no sort of goal, right? So is it an absolute necessity that you have a concrete goal? Not necessarily, right? But is it very beneficial to your motivation? I believe so. I believe so. If you take someone, for example, and you're like, okay, today you got to use positive behaviors. You're not going to feel like doing these things, but we got a list of things for you to do. And while you're doing them, I want you to remind yourself, hey, false alarm, I'm retraining my brain. You take someone who's in a bad state and give them those objectives, right? Those objectives are pretty simple to follow, but they don't have a reason to want to do those things, right? They don't necessarily want to live a better life. They're in a state of self-loathing. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for that person than it is for a person that says, hey, I don't want to be in this state. I've got things I want to do. Here's all the reasons I want to recover. Here's all the things I want to do in my life. That's not possible right now.
Let me show you.
We got an ad. It's just going to be much easier for the person that's got goals. Whatever that goal may be, right? Like, I don't know. It's up to you, but whatever your goals are. But yeah, try to think of your goals. People are far more willing to put up with and deal with discomfort if they've got a reason why they're doing it. And that's why I've said in the past, you can make your accepting inner voice, hey, I'm doing this because feeling is healing. I'm doing this because I'm recovering. I'm doing this, so forth and so on. Sky, what's up, dude? I don't know how I missed you there. I might be buying a 1968 Mustang V8. It's sweet. Nice, dude. I hope you enjoy this guy. Have fun with that. Can I drive it? That was not the emoji. Did you get the dishes done, Mint? Are the dishes done? We vibing, man. We vibing. What's up, Paul? How you doing, dude? Welcome to the stream. Dishes done. Feeling productive today, Mint. All right. '79 Z28 race car. I'll race you, Sky. That could be interesting. Race for pink slips, dude. Race for those pink slips, man. Put your money where your mouth is, bro. YouTube notification fails every time. It does for some people, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I wish I could fix it. Money never pinks. Come on, Kev. Come on, Kev. It's a bit of a trigger because different clothes have become triggers just because of random intrusive thoughts. It's funny what the mind can latch onto and make associations with as far as triggers go. If I do well on my novel Wonder Bro, I'm coming back to give you a heart attack with a big donation one day. Watch this face. Luis, that's so kind of you. You are going to do well. I believe in your ability. $40,000 in my car. If you put 40 grand into it, Kev, then it should be able to do the job, right? It shouldn't be no problem to race for pinks. You guys can feel free to ask your questions, by the way. I know we're talking about different topics here in chat, but you can always still feel free to ask any sort of anxiety-related questions, of course. Mind is trying to rationalize right now why these clothes are triggering. It's just coming up with new intrusive thoughts, but I'm trying to accept and move on because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Wonder Bro, can the journey to recovery feel almost like first day after such a long time as well, or is it a setback? Well, fear pathways can pop off really at any given time during your journey, right? It's better to not try to get into the specifics of what does this mean? Am I back to this or that? No, just use the advice, right? Just make it simple on yourself, dude. Use the advice. There's no need to overcomplicate it. Believe me, I used to overcomplicate the shit out of it. You won't get anywhere doing that. Simply remind yourself anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on. Then take advantage of it. Use those positive behaviors and that accepting inner voice. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to do, right? There's no need to, no need at all to try to overcomplicate it and put all the pieces together and, you know, that's just stressful. Well, it's not only stressful, but it's pointless as well. So, not only stressful, but pointless as well. Half and half. Let it be half and half, right, Mint? Let it be half and half. If the mind wants to say this, the mind wants to say that, just let it all play out. You've got a clear objective. Your objective is not to play detective. Your objective is not to play police officer. Your objective is positive behaviors, right? We've been calling that today, act like a person who's already recovered, and just have that accepting inner voice instead of trying to figure out and play police officer and fight with those thoughts, right? You have a very clear objective, the accepting inner voice and positive behaviors, and that is your only goal. That is your only objective. There is nothing else to try to solve or figure out. The body and mind will take care of itself, right? If you stick to your objective. Feels like nothing is also is doing something. I stuck at doing nothing is technically doing something, but what's the problem with that, right? So you're just overthinking it again. Doing nothing is something, doing nothing, aka positive behavior, stop using coping methods, stop using compulsions. Just act like a person who's already recovered, right? Right? And don't try to figure out or fight with those thoughts or feelings, the accepting inner voice. Doing those things is technically doing something because it's new to you and you're not used to it and you're trying to form a new habit, but that's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with the fact that it's technically doing something. Yeah, you technically are building a new skill. I get what you're getting at. You've got this belief that I'm doing something wrong if it feels like I'm doing something, right? But you could technically say, you could make the argument, you could technically say that you're doing something, yes, and that's okay. You're doing something. You're practicing a new skill, a new habit. What's wrong with that, right? I'm just overthinking it. Absolutely will, man. Absolutely will. Feeling is healing. Understand that when you're in those moments, guys, you're not going to be able to access your rationality. It's not possible. So, of course, you can't just tell the amygdala using your rational side that all is well. You can't really access that. It's a false alarm. It kind of overrides that. Your objective is to just tell yourself, you know what, it is a false alarm, and to keep using those positive behaviors. The body and mind will take care of itself. No need to try to fight with those thoughts or figure it out with your rational side because, again, amygdala's not going to listen to that anyway. Why it becomes so senseless? Well, everything I just said, perfect timing. Everything I just said applies to your question right there. You can't access rationality with that false alarm happening. So stop trying. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to fight with it. The amygdala is not going to buy it anyway, right? It's going to buy your positive behaviors, and you stop trying to fight with it all and adding so much negativity. That's what it'll buy. It's not going to buy you trying to fight with it using logic. So don't even bother trying. Just have that accepting inner voice, right? It is what it is. False alarm, and use those positive behaviors. Don't even try to fight with it using logic. It's not going to work, right? It kind of overrides that. How are you, Wonder Bro? I'm doing good, Sky. How are you doing this morning? Good morning, everybody. Hello. We're starting to get more people in here. Hello, guys. Hello, hello. Good morning. Guys, we are at 10 on the tip goal today. We're on a 193-day streak. We are so close to 200. If you guys would like to tip the stream, you can feel free to do so using the link in the description. You can make the money cloud come and rain, or you can use one of the emails on the screen. It is your choice. But shout out to MV and I'm going to say Love Tea instead of what they put because I don't love tea. Love Tea and MV for their $5 tips. Appreciate you guys so much. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart if you support the stream. Good morning, Tony. How are you doing? Good morning. It's been a while. How have you been? Yoda once said, "You must unlearn what you have learned." Yes. Another way to put that is you must form better habits, right? You must break bad habits and form better habits. Is another simple way to put that. Good morning, getting ready for work. Good morning, Ophelia. Why all the dots? Are you negative today? Are you being negative today? I want you to put on a smile. Stop that. I'm just assuming. Normally when people put a lot of dots, they're being negative. Maybe you're not. But if you are, cut it out. Enough. Stop it. Stop it. An adrenaline dump. That's a much better wording for that. Because there's no more panic and nothing attacking me. A lot of people don't experience a whole lot of panic attacks during recovery, believe it or not. Like, that's a common misconception. A lot of people don't experience full-blown panic during recovery. Last panic attack I had, God, I can't even, it would be hard for me to say. I'm sure I had some panic attacks, what you could consider a panic attack during my sensitization bouts, but yeah, a lot of people don't experience full-blown panic attacks during sensitization. That's like a common misconception there. If you do experience panic attacks, it's the same solution, right? The advice doesn't change, but yeah, a lot of people don't. Well, you might have that feeling of inner panic, which Dr. Claire Weeks refers to in her book several times. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to experience total panic, right? And again, a lot of people do not. Well, I had a hiccup yesterday, bringing dizziness and a little more, but it eventually left. Doesn't sound like a hiccup. Sounds like you had symptoms that you can't control because the symptoms aren't in your control. But if you responded to it with the accepting inner voice to the best of your ability and continued to live your life, then you did perfectly fine and definitely not a hiccup. In fact, you scored bonus points because anxiety learns while anxiety's turned on. Ooh, sweetness. Have you experienced also high blood pressure during anxiety recovery? I was never one to have like the medical devices around to like check my blood pressure with and stuff like that, my heart rate. I never got into that. I would not allow myself to get into that because I knew that would be horrible as far as compulsions and coping methods go. So I never was one to check my blood pressure and my heart rate and stuff like that. So I don't know. I can't really answer that. It's common, but I don't know. I never really went out of my way to check anything like that. I'm sure I did, right? I'm sure I did. Oh, inner panic. Love a nuclear weeks term. My biggest issue, anticipating fear of fear. And that's where your accepting inner voice comes in. When you notice yourself doing that, it's time to to switch the way you talk to yourself up a little bit and get right back into those positive behaviors, right? That's where that accepting inner voice comes into play. Oh, okay. You said it yourself, right? You followed that up with, I'm trying to turn that around with the accepting inner voice. Yes. You'll notice it happening. It's called bad habits, right? Just try to replace that. You're not fighting with the thoughts and feelings. You're just telling yourself something different about them. That's it. That's the difference. That's a big, crucial difference, actually. You're not fighting with the content. You're just telling yourself something different about them. Like, oh yeah, I totally expected this to be here, and you know what? That's okay, because anxiety learns while anxiety's turned on, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do some positive behaviors. I'm going to go sing in the shower. Right? Whatever. That's the two main keys, put simply. I don't know, guys, if we'll be here. I know sometimes when we do the morning streams, we also try to follow that up with like an afternoon stream or a night stream. I don't know if that'll happen today. It depends. I've got several things going on today, so I don't know. But so far, we're dragging this one out a little bit. I'm in a streaming mood. What can I say? I'm feeling talkative today, so. But I don't know if there will be one later. My problem before was that caused when I had my first panic attack. Nurse told me I had blood pressure. Then I got obsessive about it. Thank God I got over it. Yeah. I was never, personally, like I said, I was never one to keep the medical equipment around. Like some people have heart rate monitors and they check their blood pressure. And yeah, I never did any of that. I could see how that could very quickly turn into a pretty bad compulsion. Still would struggle letting go 100%. I know I have to, and I have to just live with uncertainty and be okay with that. It's a practice, right, Tony? I don't want you to think it's like a light switch, dude. I don't want you to think, oh, well, I'm going to miss out on recovery until I get to the point where I can hit the light switch and then just become this glowing, accepting God, right? If that's your goal, drop that, because no one is a glowing, accepting, vibrant God of acceptance, right? So let go of that. Let go of that baloney, because it's baloney. You're a human being, and it's a practice, and you don't have to be perfect to recover. So I've had some people, I'm not saying you, Tony, but I've had some people in the past kind of approach me with that mindset. Wonder Bro, I must become one with the Buddha in order to overcome this anxiety. I've ordered all the candles, the robes, the crystals. I will become one with the Buddha in the spiritual temples of light. Right? It doesn't happen that way. Moji. Okay, interesting. Moji. Speaking of spiritual people, Moji with the $25 tip. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. What does that put us at? Guys, I'm getting better at math. I'm getting slowly better at math. We're at 35, guys, which puts us 15 away from tip goal. 15 is all we need. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. I really do appreciate it. Let's see who we got. Let's read the names here. We've got I Love Tea with the $5 tip. We've got MV with the $5 tip, and we got Moji with the $25 tip. Drop some purple hearts, guys. We are close. We are close to tip goal. Thank you so much. I want to see some purple hearts. I know we've got plenty of people in here. Why am I not seeing those purple hearts yet? Why am I not seeing those purple hearts? Let's get them. Love and gratitude to the tippers with the purple hearts, guys. If it wasn't for our tippers, we could not do this, right? So we must show them love. We must show them love. We must show them love. Don't get me wrong, Pond. There's nothing wrong with philosophy and spirituality. I've looked into this stuff. I love this kind of stuff. I'm very interested, and I do a lot of research into this kind of stuff. But this isn't really the channel for it. Recovery can be made much more simple than all of that, right? It's interesting, but I feel like it's on its own playing field, right? But my main point was that no, you do not have to become one with the Buddha, right? You do not have to become one with the universe. You do not have to become a glowing being of radiant acceptance. You do not have to pull an Eckhart's Holy in order to make progress. You're a human being. And there's going to be times where you fail. And acceptance is a practice, and you do not have to be perfect at the accepting inner voice. You do not have to be perfect at positive behaviors to make changes to your amygdala. That is not true, right? And I have had people come at me with that mindset. I got to be perfect at this. I've got to find my spiritual switch. I've got to become one with the gods, right? And none of that's true. You're not going to be perfect. You can make progress without being perfect. You can recover and have plenty of failures along the way. It is a practice, right? And you can make more steps forward than you do back, and that's okay, right? You can still have those steps back as long as we keep making steps forward, right? It's going to add up. I'm on, but getting dressed, can only listen. But hello, everyone. Have an awesome day. Thank you for being here, Ophelia, and thank you for supporting the stream. I'm a spiritual person, but I totally agree with you, Wonder Bro. You need a grounded approach to what can be a spiritual experience. That is a good way to put it. Like I said, I love the spiritual side of things, and I'm really into philosophy, and I love all of this stuff, and I've done plenty of research on that in my own free time, right? And I still do, but this is not the channel for that, because that really overcomplicates things for sensitized people, and there's no need for it. You can have a very grounded approach like the two main keys that leads to healing, right? You don't necessarily need to get all big terms and one with this and one with that, and you don't have to get into all that, right? You can do that on your own time behind closed doors. Right? You don't have to bring that into recovery. It complicates it. There's no need to complicate it. Sensitized people, what do? They overthink things. That's why I don't bring up the research I've done on stuff like that. That's why, because there's no need for it. It's two different worlds, right? Or it should be. It should be two different worlds, at least for a sensitized person. Now, if you wanna heal your nerves, I recommend you keep it super simple with the two main keys, right? And then once your nerves have gotten to a better state, and then you want to explore your spiritual side, you want to explore all this other talk about this and about that, and you want to explore being connected with this, and you want to do all that in your own time, great. If you feel stable enough to not overthink that shit, great. It's really interesting stuff. It might open your eyes, whatever. But this channel is simply not the place for it. Even though I have done streams in the past on some of these spiritual teachers, I have done streams on them. You'll notice I don't really do that much anymore because people just tend to overthink it, right? They tend to overthink it. It's an issue. Terry, what's up, Terry? My man, Terry, I love you, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing today? You know, I poke a little fun at those things from time to time. You know, I'll poke a little bit of fun at, you know, certain activities, right? I'll poke a little fun at it. But it doesn't mean I don't like those things. You know, I love those things. It's just not the place for it. The funny thing about that is, Luis, you can be in a state of mindfulness even if you're not necessarily in traditional stance. But anyway, we're getting off topic. We're getting off topic. Stop I don't want people to overthink it. Stop overthinking it. I'm not talking about you, Luis. I'm talking about anyone that might overthink those terms. I'm at work waiting to get off in 2 hours. I hope you had a decent day at work, Terry. I hope it wasn't too much bullshit going on, right? It's kind of weird feeling when you go from sensitized to desensitized, totally different worlds. It is. I always compare it to a fish in a new fish tank. We vibe, Luis. We vibe. Don't get me wrong, I love all those terms. I love all those terms, but I learned the hard way here on the channel. When I used to do streams and I would bring up terms like mindfulness, oh my god. Oh my god. I would be swarmed with the questions. What does that mean? How do I do that? I can't do that. How do you do it? How do you do that? How do you get into that state? I can't do that. Mindfulness? No, that's not for me. I can't do it. Their minds go straight to like the Buddha, right? I can't do that. I can't be like the Buddha. What do you ask me to do? To be like the Buddha? And then they're just all over the place, right? I found out the hard way. It's much easier to tell people, hey, if you're doing some negative thinking, remind yourself of something accepting and use some positive behaviors. Act like you're already recovered, right? Much easier to tell people that because it works and it's not complicated and there's no room for them to overcomplicate it. What time does Taco Bell open? Kev is still on this Taco Bell kick. I don't know, man. I don't know. What time does Taco Bell open, guys? I just ate, so I'm good. But Kev is craving, so. Guys, we are only 15 away from our tip goal. If you'd like to support the stream, you can do so through the link in the description. Make the money cloud rain, or you can use one of the emails on the screen. We are 15 away from tip goal. 15. Ghost, thank you so much for the $15 tip. There it is. Terry. You the man, bro. You the man. You the man. You know what that means, guys? That means we have hit tip goal. That means we have officially hit tip goal. And I know I said Terry, but I got to give you props, dude. Terry likes to, not to call you out or anything, but Terry likes to tip in other people's names, so... Let's see the purple hearts, man. Purple hearts. Sorry about that, by the way, guys. I started to get like red bars on my screen, and I was like, should I keep talking or have we disconnected? But I don't think we have. We're good. But purple hearts, yes, please. I got a little sketched out for a second. My stream started acting really weird, but I think we're good. I think we are good. Kev, thank you so much for the purple hearts. Mint, thank you so much for the purple hearts. Sometimes when I go to different places, even though they were familiar, it still feels weird. How do I go about that? It's associations, right? Your brain makes weird associations with places. You can always rewire. You can always rewire. So by associations, I mean maybe you freaked out at a certain place at one point and your brain kind of associates that with danger. You get what I'm saying? All right, guys, give me 1 second. We're going to keep the stream rolling. I'm in a streaming mood, but give me 1 second. All right, we are back. Sorry, guys, for the interruptions. I had a phone call that I absolutely had to take. There's a funny doctor called Dr. Harry Berry. Hilarious. Wow. Hilarious, I know. He talks about acceptance as his accepting line he advises is uncomfortable but not dangerous and daring the panic to come to you. I love it. And like you said earlier, Luis, I like the conversation that we had about your goals, knowing that, okay, I want my life back from this shit, right? Like, I can put up with this discomfort if it means getting my life back, right? Which is what you're doing, guys. You're getting your life back. People are far more willing to deal with discomfort if they're getting their life back, right? Let's say you take someone, and I don't mean to get too off topic from what you guys are talking about, but let's say you take someone and you're like, okay, today you have to deal with strong symptoms, but as a trade-off, you won't have to deal with as many strong symptoms in the future and you can start to get your life back, right? That person, if they're goal-oriented and their goal, and and they're encouraged by their goal, they're probably far more willing to do that than someone who is not reminding themselves of what they're in it for. Can we all agree with that? Can you guys agree with that, Luis? Like myself, for example, when I was facing specific triggers during my journey, like let's say it was Gora, right? Agora. If I reminded myself, right, before I put myself through this, and I talk myself through it, and I live through it, and I experience this experience, and it's going to be intense, but I'm going to experience it. If I do it because I know that I'm getting my life back in the end, and I'm going to have to deal with less of this crap, less of this bull crap in the future, because I've retrained my brain over this stimulus, this trigger, I'm willing to do it. I'm not that willing. Sometimes I'm not that willing, right? I wasn't so willing to do it, but That's what I would tell myself. I'm not that willing, but I'm a little bit more willing because I know that at the end of the day, if it means I have to deal with less of this shit in the future, fuck it. You know, let's experience it. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. I so agree. It feels so worth it when you have exactly. Short-term pain equals long-term gain. Yes, sir, Terry. Yes, sir. You know, that's the thing. And I would tell myself that. Yeah, I wasn't perfect. So sometimes I would say, yeah, you know, this is a bit scary, but, you know, I'm not that willing, but I'm a little bit more willing because I know that at the end of the day, this means getting my life back. So fuck it. If I've got to experience panic, then fuck it. I guess I got to experience panic. Puts purpose to the pain. Yes. I mean, if you take two people and one of them is sitting there reminding themselves, like, let's say they withdraw for a second, right? They almost stop. They're like, no, I can't do this, right? And they're like, no, I'm not willing. I'm not willing to do this. And you take that person and you're like, hey, look, you forgot about your inner voice. I want you to start telling yourself things right now as to why you want to do this. And they slowly start telling themselves things, no matter how reluctantly, they slowly start telling themselves things like, all right, I withdraw for a second, but I'm going to go back into it. I'm going to put myself back into the fire because you know what? I'm getting my life back. Fuck this anxiety shit. This is not the life I deserve to live. I'm going to go through this so that I can grow through this. I want it. And you start to get someone who talks to themselves in that way. We call that the accepting inner voice. When you start to get someone who talks to themselves in that way, they might withdraw, but you bet your sweet ass they will go back, right? If they're talking to themselves in that way. If they are talking to themselves in that way, they might withdraw. They might make a mistake. They might slip. But if they really are talking to themselves in that way, they will go back. They will eventually go back and they'll do it. They'll do it, right? But if you've got someone who's talking to themselves in the way, oh man, I don't want to deal with this. This is bullshit. I hate this. I don't want this. I'm not putting myself through this. I just want to be comfortable. You know, then it's not going to work. No, but thank you so much. Terry, I love you, dude. I love you. I gotta call you out, dude. I know you like to comment other usernames, but I gotta call you out, man. Terry's like my #1 supporter, right? He's right up there. He's like at least top 5. So give this guy all the purple hearts, the round of applause, and all the purple hearts in the world, man. Terry alone has really supported my channel. Like I said, top 5 throughout the years. So please give Terry all the purple hearts in the world. If anyone deserves it, it's Terry. So thank you so much, dude, for the $10 tip and the $25 tip and the $15 tip. I mean, this guy basically hit tip goal all on his own here. Don't forget about I Love Tea and MV coming in with their $5 tips. Thank you, guys. There's plenty of people in here, man, so I want to see some purple hearts. There's plenty of people in here, so I want to see the purple hearts rolling. Sorry, guys. I just ate, and anytime I eat, I get all burpy. I apologize. Thank you, Terry, for the purple hearts. Pond, thank you for the purple hearts. Luis, you're going to do awesome. You're going to do awesome with your novel. I have so much, just so much positivity towards the idea of you writing a novel. I really have good feelings about it. I think you're going to do amazing. And if you stick to it and you really put your heart and soul into it, you're going to get a good product, right? And it seems like something you're passionate about. So as long as you're passionate about something, the end product is usually a good one. Even though, and Sky, thank you for the purple hearts. Even though I am getting my life back, still getting weird symptoms. And that's okay. That's going to happen, right? We know that anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on, so I want you to embrace it. I want you to say, you know what? I need these symptoms. I need these symptoms. Anxiety learns while anxiety's turned on. Let's do this thing. I need these symptoms. I am making new connections. I want you to pump yourself up. I want you to encourage yourself. I want you to motivate yourself. I want you to put some emotion behind your accepting inner voice. I don't want you, and don't get me wrong, it's a start to go around and mumble accepting words. But I want the mumbling to come to an end eventually. I want some fucking emotion behind it. I want you to say, you know what? I feel so intense right now, but I'm alive. I feel intense anxiety. I feel intense panic, but that means I'm alive. That means I am retraining my brain. That means I am getting my life back. I need this. I want this. I want you to work yourself up. I don't want you to just mumble. I want you to work yourself up. I want you to get into a place of, you know what? This is intense, but it means I'm getting my life back. This shit is going behind me. I'm moving forward. I'm no longer moving backwards. Whatever wants to come through that door can come through that door because I am getting my life back, and nothing, especially not a physical symptom of anxiety, is going to stop me from getting my life back. I want you to work yourself up into that accepting mindset until you've got such a full head of steam that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get your life back from this bullshit, right? I want you to work yourself up. I don't want you to just mumble the accepting inner voice. I want you to scream it to the top of your lungs in your head, not in public and not out loud, because then you'll go to prison, or jail rather. But I want you to work yourself up. I don't want you to just mumble it. I want you to say, you know what, it's on. It's on if you think you can get the best of me. It's on if you think this panic can get the best of me. It's on if you think I'm going to withdraw from this situation because I'm feeling anxious. It's on if you think I'm going to waste another month of my life to this shit, right? I want you to have the accepting inner voice to a point of meaning it. That's what I want. All right. I got a little carried away there, but you know, it happens. We get a little passionate from time to time. I got to go have a smoke and then get back to work. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Terry, for all the support, dude. Like I said, I really don't know what I would do without you. So thank you, dude. You're never obligated to do that, but I really do appreciate getting us to tip goal. Not only getting us to tip goal, but breaking tip goal. Thank you so much. And if any of you out there would like to support the stream, you can do so through the link in the description. You can make the money cloud rain and also bust my eardrums because I always forget to turn down the headphones, but people seem to get a kick out of that. So yeah, if you'd like to support the stream, link is in the description. Emails are on the screen. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. You guys make me able to do this every single day, and I really appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone else appreciates it as well, right? All the people that enjoy coming to the streams and learn and grow from the streams, they appreciate the tippers, right? Because they know without the tippers, it would just be difficult to do. So I can feel the healing. Yes, I can feel the healing. The healing is in the air, guys. You might feel a certain strong, scary way right now. That's okay. That feeling is healing. That feeling is healing. Loving the energy, Wonder Bro. Thank you, Luis. I just needed a little bit of food. That's all it was. I started the stream originally after just waking up, so I wasn't fully awake, and I was very, very hungry. And now that I've got some food in me, and we're here, we're starting to wake up a little bit. Wake up with me, stream. We're all waking up together today. Wonder Bro, I'm a soccer boy, but in this stage I don't play like I used to. I feel like I've forgotten how I used to play like I used to. So maybe your mind's a little bit all over the place, which is to be expected, right? But you can still put as much of your energy as you wish into your soccer, right? And you should. Despite your symptoms, you should put as much energy as you wish into your soccer. Despite your symptoms being there, they will come and go. Sometimes they'll be more intense than other times, but you just put all of your conscious effort into that soccer regardless, right? As much as you can. You're not going to be perfect, but as much as you can. Everybody clap to the beat, clap to the beat, clap to the song. I feel like my skull meat is all relaxed and chilling, because it is, man, it is. There we go. Clap, clap. Hey, guys, anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on, right? I want you to live by that. I want you to get excited in the moments that you feel anxious, and the moments that you feel as anxious as you felt in a long time. Those are the really good ones, right? Those are the really good moments because we know we are forming new associations. The brain is forming new connections. So if you're really, really, really anxious, but you're sitting there telling yourself, you know what, this is healing, and you're putting on a smile and you're getting excited for your healing, right? Even though you feel really intense, guess what you're doing? Guess what you're literally doing inside of your brain? You are making a new connection. And you know what happens? You know what happens then? You might have to repeat it a few times, but eventually that connection becomes solid. And then you know what happens when that connection becomes solid? Whatever it was that was triggering you no longer makes any sort of difference to you because it's no longer a trigger, because you have made a new connection. So feeling is healing. Anxiety learns while anxiety's turned on, and I want you to look at that as a good thing because it is a good thing. I don't want you to look at it as something horrible. Why is this happening to me? I want you to look at it as, hey, this is my opportunity, right? Do you think you can trick the brain with the inner voice and say I'm excited about creating the life I want? It's not so much about tricking the brain. So here's what happens. The inner voice keeps the fuel away, right? And it allows you to do better behaviors, and it keeps the fuel away. What it does is it stops you from adding negativity so that the brain can learn, right? It doesn't necessarily trick the brain, but what the inner voice does do is stop the negativity. So I guess in one way you could say trick, but it's not really a trick, right? It's not really a trick. It's the truth. It's not really the trick. It's the truth. It is exciting to create the life you want. That's not a trick, right? It is exciting to be excited about having access to your fear pathways so that you can retrain them and get the life that you deserve. It is exciting, right? It's not a trick. So, yeah, there's no trickery here. It's just the daggone truth. Right? It's just the daggone truth. But I get what you were saying. Associate the feeling, yeah, and you should associate it with more positivity because, again, it's the truth. It's the truth. Why shouldn't you be excited? Let me ask you this. Why shouldn't you be excited about being scared when you're scared, you're creating your life? Why shouldn't you be? So, it is the truth. You should be. And that's what the accepting inner voice is all about, right? And you got to use it, and you got to work yourself into it. You can't just mumble it. Don't mumble it. Put some feeling behind it. Hey, yeah, I'm feeling intense, but you know what? I'm creating the life that I want right now, and that's exciting. Yeah. It's not a trick, it's a treat. There you go. I love it, dude. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Thank you guys again for breaking typical this morning stream. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to support the stream, feel free to do so. You can use the link in the description to make it rain. Thank you. Let's see. I missed a comment here. I missed several comments here. Back to yesterday when that dizziness came while I was watching a movie, I reminded myself to have to feel it to heal it. I need this. At the end of the day, 15 minutes of discomfort versus the rest of the day was okay. And that 15 minutes scored you a lot of bonus points. You did a lot of work. I wonder how to move on from the addiction to anxiety. As I get better, the worry themes become more sneaky and low-key. It means they're switching up, right? And it's just because you're not giving it the attention that it used to get. So it's trying to get your attention in some other way. And that's all it's doing. It's trying to be sneaky, right? And you said it best. It's trying to be sneaky. But the same advice applies, right? The same advice applies. And the longer you do this, the longer this will become your norm. Instead of the anxiety state being your norm, this will become your norm, right? So just keep doing it until it becomes your norm. Just keep doing it until the habits are no longer as strong as they once were. Just keep doing it until your body realizes that this is your normal state, right? Which is relaxed and calm and happy and confident. It takes time to get there, but keep doing it until your body makes the adjustment and says, okay, all those years of the anxiety state, now we're switching to something new, right? That is a process. That is a change. That is something that happens on the daily, and you just got to keep at it. I'm excited to be scared. That's what I love to hear. Getting ready for work, guys. Sorry, no problem, Tony. He's probably already gone by now, but I hope you have a good day at work, dude. Fantastic day at work. That's one way to put it, Sky. I feel they will disappear. They'll disappear. You're replacing one habit with another habit. You're replacing one norm. Your current norm is what? Panic and anxiety. You're replacing that norm with another norm. Just let your body and mind have the appropriate amount of time that it needs to make the adjustments. You got to think, guys, how long have you programmed yourself to be this way? Years, probably, for most of you, right? I'm not just talking about the sensitized state. This goes back before the sensitized state. I don't know about you guys, but I was a worried kid. I was a kid crying over things that adults cry over, right? So you got to think, even before the sensitized state, you've been programming yourself to be this way. Your negative inner voice has been around probably since you were a child, if you're anything like me. So you've programmed yourself to be the negative, fearful inner voice and negative behaviors before you even knew what sensitization was. So you can't, how dare you think that you can just reprogram in 2 days, right? And I'm not talking to you, Mint, but just like in general, you can't have a new program going on that you've programmed yourself to be a certain way probably since childhood. I know I did. You can't expect that. You can't expect your poor body and mind to switch that up in a matter of 2 seconds, right? You got to put in the work. I have never been anything else, and I wasn't either, Mint. So, give yourself time. Give yourself time. Think about it. I don't know how old you are, but you've put in years and years and years, your whole life of being one way. You've programmed your brain to be one way your whole entire life. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to take that much time compared to, the time you spent there, but it's going to take a little bit of time to program yourself to be a different way. Your brain and mind to be a different way. When you compare the two, how long you spent programming yourself to be this way, to, programming yourself to be a different way, of course it's going to take time. All these hard-working Americans today, I keep forgetting it's not Sunday as it's a day off here. Hope all of you industrious people have an amazing day. Thank you for the positivity, Luis. 26. Okay, for some reason I thought you were younger than that. Not that isn't young. That is very young, but I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. I thought Mint was so much younger than that. I didn't know you were only 2 years younger than me. Had the resistant inner voice since I was a kid too, I really believe. Yes, exactly, guys. Think of the possibilities. If you've been able to program yourself to be this way with all these bad connections you've made your whole life, and look how strongly that is. Look how strongly you've made that. Imagine, right, what you could do in the opposite direction. You have programmed yourself to be this way for so long, and look how strong it is. Imagine if you started to program yourself in the opposite direction. It would work just as strongly. Ooh, it would work just as strongly. It works. The plasticity of the brain, neuroplasticity. You know that it works because you're living proof that it works, because look at how you are now. Now imagine if you flipped that on its head and did it in the opposite direction. You know it already works. You've just been doing it the wrong way. You've been going in the wrong direction, right? But your brain is willing to learn, and it's willing to make connections, and it's willing to do, all this and all that because you're living proof of it. All right, hold on a second, guys, okay? All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I can barely talk. We're at 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I've got some phone calls to take. I got some things to do today. But thank you so much for watching the stream, man. I really appreciate it. I'm sure I'll see you guys very, very soon. Awesome stream. Awesome stream. Go heal. Go heal. Till next time, guys, as always, stay awesome.